Hi, today we're going to have a look at Hayes gearboxes and cutter bars for heavy duty slashers. If you're looking for this gearbox as a direct replacement for a Hayes heavy duty slasher, no need to look further on the video, it will fit as a direct replacement. If you're looking at a retrofit though to another machine, we've got some important measurements to have a look at. So having a look at the hole in the centre of our deck here, the diameter of that is 140 millimetres. Important, we have a 140 millimetre step on the inside of the gearbox here, so that's going to line up with that. The other measurement we're going to look at is the hole centres through here. They're 143 millimetres between, and you'll notice that it's not set up on the square pattern there. You've got front and back, side to side. So just make sure that your hole pattern is going to be similar to that, or the same as that, to make it a direct fit. Can you fit it to any other slasher that's got a different pattern to that? Yes, you can, but just depend on your fabricating skills. So you may need to weld a new plate in over the top just to be able to drill the holes in the right position. But now you know exactly what our hole centres are and our centre hole is. If you can match to that, you're welcome to buy one of our kits and retrofit to your slasher. Just looking at the output shaft here on our 80 horsepower gearbox, it's a tapered spline, 15 spline, 50 millimetre. If your gearbox is also 50 millimetre on a tapered spline, will your cutter bar fit directly onto ours? Maybe, maybe not. It just depends exactly on the taper and also just the ridges here on the spline, whether it's going to be a direct fit. If you're buying one of our cutter bars, of course, we can match it up to make sure it will fit, but if you would like to buy a gearbox, try your cutter bar first. Maybe you'll be in luck, maybe you'll need to change over to one of our bars. Looking at your input shaft, it's 1 3/8 6 spline. That's an industry standard, so that will fit most PTO shafts as well. It should be the same as what you're running currently, but just check that. Okay, this is what it's going to look like when you drop it through the hole. Again, if it's a retrofit to another slasher and you have had to weld a new plate over the top just to get your bolt pattern right and your hole centre right on there, we're going to put the cutter bar on next and just make sure that you have enough clearance for the cutter bar to come up into here. If you had a some sort of RHS welded section onto here, and there might not be enough clearance, but we'll explain that in a moment with the cutter bar on. Okay, we have our cutter bar fitted now, so important measurement for you to do if this is a retrofit onto another slasher is just making sure that you have enough clearance through here so the cutter bar is not going to foul on anything. We have 55 millimetres between here and the bottom of the deck, but we have an 11 mil thick plate on top of there, so 66 millimetres is the measurement from the top part of your cutter bar here through to the bottom plate on the ring of the gearbox. So make sure you have enough clearance there. Most slashers will be a similar design to this, with anything from a 4 mil deck through to maybe 10, 11 mil like ours. Strengthening ribs around this area, 38 millimetres deep on ours, so you can see there's plenty of clearance under there. But yeah, some older designs can sometimes have a box section in here, which would have meant that it had a much longer output shaft on the gearbox. If that's the case, just check those measurements I talked about earlier. So 66 millimetres between the blade, so the cutter bar top, and the bottom plate on your gearbox. Again, if you are buying a complete kit, we know our spline, of course, is going to fit the 80 horsepower 50 mil spline gearbox, so that's all easy. We have varying sizes, so just check our spec sheet on total cut. Common question is, do we get our cut width based on the cutter bar or the blade length? It's based on the cutter bar, so the blades are a standard size throughout the range of the heavy duty series for the 80 horsepower. So what's going to vary is your cutter bar hole centres. So yeah, just check what we've got there. We can't do any variations on this, so it is a set size. We have had people cut blades down a little bit if clearance was an issue, but you wouldn't want to do that too much and lose too much of your cutting edge, but it can be done if you were just missing out by a small amount on your clearance. So I hope that helps. If you've got further technical questions before you go ahead and buy one of our cutter bars or gearboxes or complete rebuild kits, just give us a call for any further technical questions on 1300 442 937, or shoot us an email, sales@hayesproducts.com.au.